the Kennedy Center, and that's something I really want to talk about. That was the wife. That was our place, our date night, and I'm not going to be able to see Maxwell there this year. And so that kind of upsets me. And then uh, we also need to talk about Harvard
Mhm.
because they've actually shown that, hey, look, we're going to use our leverage. They've shown that they got balls, all right? So before we talk about Harvard and we talk about the Kennedy Center, I want to talk about who could possibly be the next president who can come in and help fix this stuff. And the person that I know would be perfect for the job, I mean, absolutely on top of it, would be Pete Buttigieg. He knows how to debate, he knows the issues, he knows how to really, which I think is a good thing, how to talk to these GOP pundits and show them in a very, very smooth way how what they're saying is just idiotic. But can Pete win? That's the thing that I'm looking at. Can Pete win?
I would like to think he could in
Mm.
2025, but I just don't know because some of the things that the public has let slide um, during this MAGA era, or however we're going to label it in
Mm-hmm.
history, um,
Idiocracy.
I would just I would have thought I thought we were past,
Yeah,
And one thing that the GOP has been very good at doing, highly skilled at doing, is vilifying and stigmatizing an individual or a group. But
right,
there are
right.
enough people who are scared off from gay and lesbian candidates, trans candidates, black candidates,
Mm-hmm.
Latino candidates, because they will falsely accuse them of certain things that they're trying to do, a certain agenda where they're trying to undermine the morality of the nation, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it's an old political trick. It's nothing new. They're just very skilled at doing it, especially now with social media.
They're very good. They showed that they can do it over and over again very well.
They were successful doing it to, and I love a primary group I left out, and I'm sorry, is our women, which is actually a majority group.
Right.
They were very good at doing that with Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would, that would be my concern. Not I'm not concerned with his qualifications or his ability to communicate or his ability to lead. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
demonstrated that he can do all of those things,
Yeah,
but
he has.
quite well.
Yeah, definitely.
But my concern, if I were like in the DNC and we are sitting there trying to decide, we're brainstorming on who we're going to put our resources behind and try to back. We'd have to come up with a plan or some way that we can deal with, because the other thing I respect about Pete is that he's quite out. It's not like one of these things where you're like, okay, well, we'll just not talk about his
Yeah, I mean, he
his
shows his,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
everything's out there, family,
Right.
all
He's
that.
quite
We know.
out. He's got, his husband's writes books.
Right.
They appear together. So that's there. That's in the package. So what we have to do is figure out how we can make people comfortable, even if you don't believe in gay, because this is what I don't know how it breaks down statistically or numbers wise, but
Mm-hmm.
I pretty sure that you're going to have to get some people to vote for him that aren't necessarily uh, pro gay marriage,
Yeah, you got to.
or
Yeah,
comfortable
yeah.
with homosexuality.
Right,
Okay, so
right,
you're going to have to convince that voter that, okay, you don't agree with this guy's lifestyle, but I think he can make our country better.
right, right, right.
So I think the only way, not the only way, but the best way to do that is to maximum exposure.
Right,
Maximum exposure. He has to
right,
be out there, be willing to take questions, to just let people know that I am not to be feared. This is not what I'm doing. Whatever they're saying isn't true, and I'm willing to sit here and talk to you about it
right,
and
right.
see if I can get you to at least believe what I'm saying here. So this is
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think. Now, as far as any other type of strategy, I don't know. I mean, I one of my, you know, jobs that I think I like to believe that I'd be good at, as being a political consultant, but I don't know all the tools of the trade.
Right.
And I don't know what people, what other things are out there. There are obviously those, there's the commercials and all of that thing. But I think what's most important is that we got to, you got to make him not scary,
Right.
because there are
Right.
people that are scared of that,
But that
of that lifestyle.
well, that goes back to how the DNC would approach it. You say you got to get him out there, maximum exposure. I think he needs to be in the same places where all of these right wing podcasts, everything that basically pushes that MAGA agenda. He needs to be out there, but not only there. He needs to be at the places like we've talked about in the past. He needs to be in Birmingham,
Oh yeah,
Charleston. I feel that the DNC really needs to listen to people on how this needs to be done, because a lot of people are complaining about this approach to campaigning that's out of date.
yeah,
They're not doing things like I said. The town hall. I know that Pete Buttigieg would be down with the town halls. Hell, he goes on Fox on a regular and knocks them out the box. So yeah, that needs to be done. But how do you convince? Or do we have somebody now in the new DNC chair? Because David Hogg is out there pissing people off. So to even get the message out there, we don't even have people agreeing on how we should deliver the message. You got AOC and Bernie having this tour, but when you look at the tour, you look at the places that they're actually going. They're going to blue spots, and yeah, you're going to get big crowds because of all the stuff that's going
right,
on.
right,
But you got them. You got the people that are with Jasmine Crockett. But then you got the old heads like Clyburn who actually know what to do. And you got him being attacked by these young people. And we can't even seem to get on the same page. So that's why when I look at Pete, can we get organized behind a guy like that? Can we use, or whoever, yeah, but that's my concern. We can't even get on the same page.
No one has taken the lead. No one has an agenda. No one has come up with there have been bits and pieces here, and Bernie and AOC. Let me take that back. Bernie and AOC are pretty specific about their agenda. I will give them that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they
They've
are.
defined their terms, but I don't think the Bernie AOC agenda, as stated by them, will win in a general election. I don't.
Right.
I think it needs to be incorporated in the mix, but I don't think that they can win.
Why don't you think they can win with their agenda? What do you think is a problem? Is it the same problem that Bernie has always had? Is that the
Yeah, the
problem?
same. Yeah. The problem is ignorance. The problem is ignorance. See, here's the thing. Because what we've, as a nation, as a democratic republic, we have a lot of elements of our government since the Second World War have been quite socialist, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
But we're just in denial as a nation about it. Now, I think that's for the public good.
Yeah, me too.
Now, AOC and Bernie, Bernie calls himself a democratic socialist. I don't know what AOC calls herself. I don't know if she calls herself the same. I know she calls herself progressive. Progressives, unfortunately can say, not unfortunately, but, everything gets conflated. People will say a progressive is a socialist. So,
Yeah.
I just think they can be easily dismissed. This is why I say I mentioned ignorance, because when you say, "Oh, so and so is a socialist," there is a percentage of the American public they'll just
they'll just get on that and roll with it. Yeah.
they'll dismiss them because they think that that's something that is just terribly negative.
Yeah.
Okay, now when they now if you were to tell them that collective bargaining and profit sharing in the NFL is socialism, they would say, "Oh, no. How could it be socialism? Look how much money they make. It's socialism."
Yeah. They don't understand. They don't look. People just don't understand the definition.
Right.
They just don't understand, and that's the problem. Yeah,
Right.
people don't know.
and also because they've been out there so long, unfortunately they've sort of made their political beds. They can be dismissed as socialists, and there are enough people still in the electorate that won't vote for them because they're just scary to them because they're socialists, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think they can win, but I definitely think that they have some very good ideas, and that
Mm-hmm.
those ideas need to be incorporated into the platform of whoever the Democratic candidate is. But
Mm-hmm.
whoever that candidate is, the way I think Buttigieg could take the lead, or another candidate, but you mentioned Pete, is instead of talking about all the terrible things Trump is doing, which you can go all day on that.
Yeah, you can spend an hour with
You
that.
can say
Yeah.
you have to talk about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And until the Democrats start talking in those terms, they're not going to really, I don't think, start getting a foothold and making this thing a movement. A movement has to be behind something, not against something. A movement has to be
Mm-hmm.
behind something.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has to be, we're trying to do X, Y, and Z. These are the things we need to do. And if you vote for me, we're going to do this, that, and the other. Now they do that, but we have to be more specific than, oh, I want to lower taxes, or I want to,
Yeah.
do this and that. Now, I think that, the way this current administration has started out has given us a lot of talking points that they
A
can
ton of
use
talking points.
that they
Yeah.
can use to say, well, we're going to bring Medicaid and Medicare back up to levels that are good for the people. We're going to bring food assistance back to where it needs to be to help lower income people and veterans and those types of things.
Right. Right. Right.
So if that's what he need, a Pete Buttigieg or one of those, or a figure like him needs to do. I really think the only thing that's in Pete's way is the fact that he's gay.